Om Guru Vajradhar Sumatimo Nishasane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsamanya Sarva Siddhi Pakyuke Kudan Dagi Lo Pakyuke Sundan Dagi Ngam Tudan Dagi Yi Tenyerme Chiktu Jingi Lo Makyuke Kudan Dagi Lo Makyuke Sundan Dagi Ngam Makyuke Tugdan Dagi Yi Tenyerme Chiktu Jingi Lo Sangye Chedan Soge Chonamla Chanchu Pardo Dani Kyapsu Chin Dagi Chinso Gibe Sonamgi Drola Pinchra Sangye Druparesh Sangye Chedan Soge Chonamla Chanchu Pardo Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonamgi Drola Pinchra Sangye Drupareshu Sangye Chedan Soge Chonamla Chanchu Pardo Dani Kyapsuchi Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonamgi Drola Pinchra Sangye Drupareshu. In the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Most of the practices of meditation and so on, both in Sutra and Tantra, it doesn't matter what practice it may be, it's divided mainly into two parts, which is the actual meditation and the moments between the meditations. Okay? And both of them have the same value of importance on our practice. It's not like the actual meditation, it is very important, but when we stop the meditation and we are in the period where we are, for example, walking and eating and talking and working and having fun, whatever, this moment is as important as the actual moment of meditation. One is there to support the other. If we make a metaphor, imagine that we have like a wood or whatever, that it's in this position, it's down. And our objective is to make it straight, okay? But it has been like this for such a long time. So we put a lot of effort and we put energy, and slowly we put effort and then we are able to make it straight. When we take out the effort, what happens? It goes down again. Then we put effort again. The more we do it, the easier it becomes. But imagine what happened if we put effort to it to go up, and then we finish, we put the opposite effort to bring it down, and we put the effort to push it down again. Then it's an endless work because we are putting effort to go up, then we are putting effort to bring it down, then we put effort to go up, then we put effort to bring it down. Then it's an endless job, no? When we put effort to go up means when we are meditating, we are changing our behavior, we are inducing ourselves to a different state of consciousness that is directly opposite to the one we want to eliminate. So we meditate on Tonglen, giving and taking. We meditate on the actual equanimity and love and compassion. So there we are forcing our mind to a state that we are not so used to. Okay, then when we finish meditation, we are able to bring our mind to that state that's so wonderful. Then when we finish meditation, naturally we would go back to our habits. So as we go back to our habits, it will go slowly down. But if not only it goes down, we push it down also. The question is, where do we stay more time, meditating or in between sessions? Okay? Maybe, I don't know, we meditate for an hour and a half, 3 times a day on Tonglen? Less? Maybe, okay, 10 minutes every day, 15 minutes every day. Okay, which already would be quite good. No? Because this is another point also. If we do not meditate, it's completely useless to know how to meditate if we do not meditate. Okay? So, or we meditate, or there is no point in learning how to meditate, actually, somehow, no? Sorry to be direct in this way, but the fact is that if we do not meditate, why are we not meditating? Because we don't want. Simple as that. We don't see it as a priority. So where do we need to go back? Banish the one to blame for everything. Go back to understanding how selfishness is the main cause of ignorance, of suffering. And as we go back, I don't want to suffer, and selfishness is the one creating my suffering. So I must eliminate selfishness. And until the moment that we do not deeply understand, feel, connect to the fact that selfishly speaking is better to be altruistic, we are not going to put effort to eliminate selfishness. And by consequence, we are not going to sit down to meditate, no? Maybe ideally, would be so nice if I would be altruistic. Let's hope one day my guru will give me a blessing and suddenly I develop pure love and compassion. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. You know? It's like things take effort, take time, like anything that we do. It doesn't matter if we are learning, let's say we play soccer or whatever sport. There are people that they are born already with a predisposition to play it. They have a talent. You take the guy with the best talent, does he need to train? Yes. No? The other day I saw one interview of a little girl. I was quite touched by her abilities and so on and her joy. She's a little girl from England, and she's 11 or 12, something like this, and she's composing opera. The whole opera, she's composing everything. So beautiful, actually, and they are playing her opera around the world, and she's already sort of a star. And there she is. She started playing when she was 3, and she plays piano like a professional in all senses, and violin and so on. Sure, there is a big predisposition, no? And she's running around, dancing in the garden, and while she's doing that, she's composing her operas, okay? So, sure, there is a very strong imprint and very strong talent. But does she still train? Yes. Even if we take people that have the most stronger talent, if you do not keep it, you just don't go on. You do not get better. You do not develop that quality that you have. So for all of us, we need to put effort, which means getting out of the comfort zone. No? But still, we like very much our comfort zone. No? We try to remain in a comfort zone, and we try to make it nice, and once we are there, I don't want to get out of it, come on. There we remain. But the point is that if we never get out of our comfort zone, we simply remain where we are. The point is that if our comfort zone is a really good one, it's quite okay. But if our comfort zone is a zone that is filled up with insatisfaction, sadness, anxiety, fear, unpeacefulness, and so on, then it's not a very good comfort zone. If any one of these is in there. So we need to put an effort to generate a better comfort zone in this way. So the fact is that we really need to put some energy, we need to put some effort, and it's not necessarily easy. But to every day at least go there, 10 minutes a day to meditate on Tonglen at least. We need to try at least, Then from that we can have the result. And this last time I was in Brazil, I gave talks in different places. And there's one place, it was the second time I was giving a talk there, a friend of a friend, a nice place where they receive people from different traditions to talk. And then very nice, open, intelligent people. Anyhow, the guy that is taking care of this whole group, when finished, he said some nice things, and then he told, between the many things he said, He said, "Oh, I'd like to thank you very much for coming, and especially also because you gave a very profound, dense speech, but we expect from most of the spiritual people that come to talk, and that's what mostly happen, just to pass the hand on our face and caress us and say, don't worry, everything will be fine, the world is beautiful." No? And instead, when you came here, you came and you just like somehow beat us and show, look what you need to do, wake up, you were like, boom. And then you say, thank you very much, that's what we actually truly need also, no? And this, I was remembering now one saying in Tibetan, which is, Shatse kala tam nyimme. Shatse kala tam nyimme, it means, Shatsa means love. Love in the sense also of taking care. If I have Shatsa, it means I take care of you with love. Okay? So I care for you. Ka means mouth. So Shatse ka, in the mouth of those who love us, or from the mouth of those who love us. Ka nyen me, nyen means sweet, nice. Me means there is not, which mainly we could translate as, from the mouth of those who loves us, sweet words don't come. Which means, if I truly love you, I will say to you things as they are and what you need to listen, not what you want to listen. No? Shatse kala tam nyime. Okay? So, sure, I will say nice words and sweet words also. But sometimes the truth is not what we want to listen, even though it's the best earth thing for us to listen, but sometimes the truth is not very, very pleasurable to listen. So, I'm sorry to say we are lazy, need to put effort, but this I say because I love all of us, including myself, okay? So, the fact is that we really need to put effort, really need to say, okay, let's do it. And if we see that we are not putting effort, it's because we don't want, then let's make something different. Because otherwise, what's the point of staying all these days here? We have our holiday time, and here we are talking about taking the suffering of others upon ourselves, giving our happiness to others, and so on. If we don't put into practice, what's the point of knowing or learning all of this? Better to go to have a nice walk in the woods, let's go to play bowling, I don't know, let's do something else. We can go to watch a nice movie, we can do beautiful things. But the only point of learning how to meditate is to meditate. So it's not just a matter of, okay, listening to beautiful teachings and reading beautiful texts. That's wonderful, but that's just understanding. That's just one part of it. This becomes really powerful in the moment we put it into practice. That's also why these teachings were kept secret for such a long time. And that's also why there is one verse here in page 23. We have one of the first texts that we have in this booklet, and is the jewel garland of the Bodhisattva. And by the end, in verse number 27, there is one line which I did not understand for a long time. And even when I received 2 times the commentary teachings about this text, my teachers also didn't know the meaning. My first teacher, when he read it, he said simply, he read that verse, do not speak of this to non-humans, to non-human beings. And then he just read it and he said, I don't know what that means. And then he would just continue on. So I always had this idea. Then finally I got into contact with the book that is the commentary on this text. Because this text, actually, it is a conversation between Atisha and Dromtompa, his main disciple. And the book is called the Book of Kadam, which is in English also. In Tibetan it's Kadam Pacho Pucho. In English it's the Book of Kadam. And the first 23 chapters of the Book of Kadam, it's the commentary on the jewel garland of the Bodhisattva. And actually every verse of the jewel garland of the Bodhisattva is the conclusion of a conversation between Atisha and Dromtompa. Very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. So the conversation which concludes with the verse, do not speak of this to non-human beings. In Tibetan it's said, Mi maingla je micha. It actually doesn't mean non-human beings. If we make a literal translation, it could be translated, do not speak of this to non-human beings also. It's not a wrong translation, but Tibetan language changes meaning according to the context. Okay, it's a language that if you take one word and then you go to the dictionary, you will see 25 different translations that in English are completely contradictory very often, and not different meanings, not contradictory, but different meanings. Because of the context, it changes the meaning. So here it says, Mi maing la jemicha. Mi means people, human beings. Maing, that are not. Je, to say. Micha, don't do. So do not say to the people that are not. It could be translated to non-humans, because mi maing also means non-humans. But it could also translate to as, do not speak to those that are not. Those that are not sincere in the practice. Because the meaning of the conversation before, at no point talks about non-humans. It is talking about the fact that to protect the teachings, do not teach them to those that do not have a true intention to put them into practice. Because who has the ability to destroy the lineage and the teachings are those that are responsible to transmit it. In Tibetan we say, Tempa gone shik. Tempa means the doctrine, the teachings. Go means the head. Shik means to destroy. So the teachings are destroyed from the head. Which means those that have truly the ability to destroy are those that are responsible for transmitting and for keeping it alive. The other people mostly follow. If the one that is supposed to teach is teaching in the wrong way and is transmitting in the wrong way, he has a power of destruction so strong. And this is said to be a word of Buddha himself. He said, my teachings will be destroyed by those responsible to keep it. Tempa goneshik. So, and how can this happen? This is what Atisha was commenting. He say, the teachings and the lineage is destroyed from the moment that the one who is responsible to keep it and transmit it do not practice it. From the moment that the one that is supposed to transmit is not practicing anymore, what happens out of that? It just becomes just conceptual understanding and talking. It's not anymore truth. It's dead. One teaching, in order to be alive, there must be experience. There must be truth within it, and not just conceptual understanding. Okay? So, based on that, do not speak of this, of the teachings of mind training, to those that are not, to the people that are not sincere with the practice, that are not truthful with the path. Do not transmit this to them, because they are the ones that are able to destroy it more easily. In other words, Atisha was saying, if the teachings are given to those that will use the teachings instead of using them for the path to enlightenment, will use them for mundane reasons, to get power and fame and money and so on, they will destroy the teachings. So do not teach to them. So this is the meaning here. So, going back, the point is that we must really put effort ourselves to practice well. Remember, these teachings, they were kept secret for a very long time, so we were very fortunate to be in contact with these teachings. So we need to, somehow dignify the fact that we can receive this by making the best effort as we can to put them into practice. So at least let's meditate for 10 minutes every day for some time. It's every day because it's something constant and because we need to change a behavior that is constantly there. And the practice is divided into two parts. There is the part of meditation that gives support for the moment of post-meditation moment. And then there is the post-meditation moment that gives strength to the meditation. So one is helping the other. It's like two strengths that slowly will bring us up. The two things are important, okay? So the part of the verse that we get now is talking about the post-meditative state. So, we go now to the next verse, which refers directly to the point of how to meditate, how to practice on the post-meditative state. And it says, Yulsum tuksum getsasum jegi menga dortepa tela drempa kulwechir chulam kuntu tsigijang. Concerning the three objects, three poisons, and three virtues, the instruction to be followed in short is to be mindful of the practice in general by taking these words to heart at all activities. So here it brings us three objects, three poisons, and three virtues. There are different ways of explaining the three virtues, but my understanding, the way I prefer it, is the following. The three objects, as we know, are friends, enemies, and indifferent. When we talk about friends and enemies and indifference, it's not only related to people. We have people, places, objects, and situations. Okay? There are people that we like, places that we like, situations that we like, and objects that we like. And the same way, there are people, places, situations, and objects that we don't like, and then there are people, place, situations, and objects that we are indifferent towards. Okay? So, we should not think only about people. We should think about animals, and places, and people, and objects, and all types of things. Okay? The fact is that when we are meditating, there we are, and supposedly we should take away the differences of the three objects when we are meditating on Tonlen. So first we generate equanimity, and then we take the suffering of everyone without any difference towards ourselves. We give our joy and happiness to everyone. We live in this peaceful and beautiful state. But when we stop the meditation and we open our eyes and we come back to the normal world, poof, it's divided into three groups. Friends, enemies, and indifferent. That's how it is. So, very clear, as it is like that, we need to work on that level until it's like that. One day it will not be anymore like that, hopefully, but then we work differently. But at the moment, we still make this division. So we need to work on that. So out of the three objects, there are three poisons. Towards friends, we have attraction, which brings attachment, desire. Okay. Towards enemies, we have anger, hatred, aversion. Towards indifferent people, we have indifference. Indifference, it's also called sometimes ignorance. We are ignorant of others, which means the word ignorance in Sanskrit, avidya, means to not to see. I am ignorant of you, I don't see you. Which means the meaning of being indifferent also. It's like, I don't see your suffering, I'm ignorant to your suffering. I don't see your existence, I'm ignorant to your existence, even though you are there. Okay? So, three objects, three poisons. One interesting thing just to say also is that when we talk about poisons, mental defilements or mental poisons, it's not necessarily within the context of this dualistic idea of good and bad. Very often we see things through this idea that, oh, this is the bad, negative part of the mind, and that's the good part of the mind, and like good and bad. Like evil and good, something like this, no? And but here, when we talk about mental defilements or poisons, one of the definitions given is sem mashiwar chebena nyomombao. Mental defilements, mental poisons, are all the mental states that bring the mind to a state of strong unpeacefulness, that takes us away of a peaceful state, that brings us to a strong unpeaceful state. Okay? Let's take, for instance, desire. Desire just by itself is not making any harm to anyone. Okay? There are consequences of desire after, yes, but desire just by itself is not making any harm to anyone outside. But for ourselves that develop desire, what state of mind does desire bring? Peaceful state or unpeaceful state? Unpeaceful. When we don't have the object, we are unpeaceful because we need to get it. When we get the object, we are unpeaceful because we are worried to lose it, and so on. Okay? So that's why it's a mental defilement. That's why it's a mental poison also. Okay? So, There are the three virtues to counteract the three poisons in relation to the three objects. The three virtues, there are different ways of interpreting it. The one I prefer is that we have the three virtues are non-attachment, non-aversion, and non-indifference. Because from a negative state of mind, we cannot generate a positive state of mind. We must go from a negative state to a neutral state, from a neutral state to a positive state. Okay? So basically, at this moment, when we wake up from the meditation, is the world divided into three parts or not? I would say yes. So, do we have naturally attraction, aversion, and indifference? Yes. So we cannot practice starting from a place where we are not, right? We need to start from where we are. So non-attachment means I am in front of my object of attachment, which means there is attachment, but I would not let my words and my actions be taken by attachment. So I do not follow attachment. Okay, let's make some examples of that. For example, when we eat more because we eat mostly what we need, or we eat mostly what we want? Very often we eat what we want. Okay? And the amount of food, about the amount of food? Do we eat really what we need, or do we eat really what we want mostly? And do we eat more than what we need, the exact amount, or less than what we need mostly? I believe mostly we eat more than what we need. For a more healthy reason, the right thing would be to stop eating when we are still a little bit hungry. This would be the best for our own health. We spend a great amount of time digesting what we don't need to digest. Okay? But, so based on this, how do we apply this aspect of non-attachment? I am in front of my food, there I am eating, it tastes really good. I want to eat more, but I feel that I have eaten enough. It's enough. What would be my natural attitude? Eat more. Why? Because it's tasty. It gives me pleasure. But it's not really good for me. So what I do? I don't eat. Non-attachment. Okay? I need to choose which food to eat. There is that food which the taste is really good, but it's not so good for me. Or there is someone else that likes it more than me and it needs the food also. So what's the best thing? Share with the other. Or if that's not a good food for me, don't take it because it's not harmful. Do I have attachment towards it and desire? Yes, what I do? I don't follow the desire. I don't follow the attachment. It's not so easy, but it brings a better result. I wake up in the morning, and there I am in my bed, so comfortable. I know that the best thing is I need to go to meditate. I have some half an hour free before I need to go out to work, and then I have this half an hour, but I am so nice in this bed, and I went to sleep late, and this and that, and I like so much. Do I have attachment to stay in bed? There is attachment at that moment, okay? There is the attachment to stay in bed. So what do? I stand up and I go to put some cold water in my face and I go to meditate because I know that that's the best thing for me. Okay? That's non-attachment. Basically the practice of non-attachment is in front of the objects of attachment, which is not necessarily good for us, we don't follow. Okay? If it's something I have attachment for something that is good, okay, then you follow it. The attachment itself is not the best part of it, but still it's something good to do, so we do it. But very often we have attachment to things that are not beneficial for us. So what happens? We do not follow it. In other words, we should not make decisions. We should not say words or act out of attachment and desire. Okay? So we start by going on that direction. Second one, aversion. We are in front of an object of aversion. Someone said something we think should not have been said. Someone acted in a way how we really didn't like. Something happened, something is in a way that really we don't like it much. We have aversion. What we do? We do not react out of aversion. We do not say anything. We do not act anything. We do not make any choice based on aversion. Okay? So, this is known aversion. Indifference. Third part. We are in front of a person and we are totally indifferent to that person or to a situation or to a place or to an object, and we are totally indifferent to it. What we do? We look at it. We look at the person. It's not coming spontaneous, no. But we put an effort not to follow that indifference and to take, to be aware of the presence. Even, for example, with the nature, The other day, after the teachings, yesterday I think, I was walking from here, and then suddenly I found there was, on the pathway, there is a little plant that is growing from within the stones. Quite beautiful one, actually. And then I stopped there for an instant and I was looking to it, And then I was, just for instance, imagining, the whole universe that it represents. And for us it looks small, but actually it's extremely big if you look from another perspective, and how much is the meaning. And we might just take it and throw it away, but actually it represents so much for so many beings and in so many ways and so on. In other words, it's like we are indifferent to so many things. And then when we start to be aware of reality and of every detail, of every aspect, then we start to value things. Then it opens our mind also. So, known indifference, where we see that there is indifference, starting with people, with situations, with the needs of others, we start to act not to follow our own indifference. Okay? And I think by that, we already have quite a lot to do in our moment between meditation sessions, right? Okay? So this is one of the ways of practicing between the meditation sessions. Okay? In the non-meditative states. In the non-meditative state, we practice by not following our own defilements. Then, the next step is that we are going to put effort into developing love and recollecting the kindness of others, and so on. Okay? But we start by not following attachment and desire, not following aversion, and not following indifference. Okay? So, as we go, the next part it says, Jegi menga durdupa tela dremba kulvechir chulam kuntu tsikijam. The instruction to be followed in short is to be mindful of the practice in general, by taking these words to heart in all activities. So, the instruction to be followed in short, which means Jegimenga, Tibetan is a language that sometimes for me translation is a bit tricky. Jegimenga, Je means after. Menga means instruction. The instruction of after, or here is translation, the instruction to be followed. But I understand it's the verse saying the instruction of after the meditative session. So the instruction for the post-meditative state is in short. Okay? That's why we say Jegi Menga. Je means after. Gi means possession. Menga means instruction. So the instruction of what? The instruction of after. After what? The meditative moment. Meditative state, okay? Could we translate the instruction to be followed? I suppose yes. But I understand it a bit in a different way. So anyhow, both of them, somehow we get the meaning. But The instruction of the post-meditative state, in short, is to be mindful of the practice in general by taking the words to heart in all activities. More than these words, by taking the words to heart in general. In Tibetan, no moment is talking about these words. It's talking about train through the words in all activities. Cholam kuntu. Cholam means activities. Kuntu means in all activities. Train through the words. Okay? Telajempal kurechir, in order to keep mindfulness in this practice, in order to keep mindfulness in your path, in your practice, to keep the mindfulness of the practice in general on the daily life. Also because in the translation, at no point here is saying the practice in general. It's just said to keep mindfulness, in order to keep the mindfulness in it. In it what? In the practice in general. Okay. What do? We train in every activity through the words. What are these words? The words are the words of many texts that exist. We can take the 8 verses of mind training, we can take the jewel garland of the Bodhisattva, we can take verses from the Guru Puja, we can take verses from the Bodhisattva Charyavatara. There are many, many different wonderful and beautiful texts that actually can help us in order to direct our mind. Because it is said that the old meaning needs the stick of the word to sustain itself. So basically it means the word is like a walking stick and the meaning is like an old person that cannot walk without the walking stick. So the words are keeping the meaning, are giving support to the meaning through the words. So that's why what we do is that we need to try to, memorize and learn verses that direct our mind to the direction that we want to go. This is what we do. So we learn these verses, we write these verses around, we put in our telephone, we do whatever we like, we write in the mirror in the morning, we put them around in order to remember us of the direction that we want to follow with our mind. So I will take few verses from the Guru Puja, and then after we look at few verses from other texts that we have here also. So in the Guru Puja we can go, for example, taking the context in which we are, verse number 92. Manan chesun de la gobelo taye yunten jume gortong ne drowa de dadagi darlan kya sole cheper zimpra jingi lob. Dorna chibarando gona da tuba shedun bajinde ba ikyunda yunten yewa tobelo da shenyam jen nubra jingi lo. Rangni chezin kuba kunge go manan chezi yunte kungishi dechir da shen chewe nel jula nyamle nimpo chepra jingi lob. Tena jetsun lama tuje che magyo drowe dirib dunga kuen malo tata dala mimpada dagi dege shen la tawai drogun dedan dembra jingi lob. Each one of this can be seen and used separately, okay? But as we see here, they say, in brief, 92. The mind that cherishes all mother beings and would secure them in bliss is the gateway leading to infinite virtue. Seeing this, we seek your blessings to cherish these beings more than our lives, even should they rise up as our enemies. In brief, infantile beings labor only for their own end, while Buddhas work solely for the welfare of others. With a mind understanding the distinctions between the failings of one and the advantages of the other, we seek your blessings to enable us to equalize and exchange ourselves for others. Since cherishing ourselves is the doorway to all torment, while cherishing our mothers is the foundation of all that is good, we seek your blessings to make our core practice the yoga of exchanging of self for others. And thus, O venerable and compassionate Gurus, we seek your blessings that all the karmic depth, obstacles and sufferings of mother beings may, without exception, ripen upon us right now, that we may give our happiness and virtue to others, and thereby invest all beings in bliss. Okay. If we take other verses, for example, We take from the booklet we have here, we have the 8 verses of mind training, which every verse here is powerful. Now, if we just make an example of the first, may I always cherish all limited beings by considering how far superior they are to wish-granting gems for actualizing the supreme aim. Whenever I come in anyone's company, may I regard myself less than everyone else, and from the depth of my heart value others more highly than I do myself. Whatever I am doing, may I check the flow of my mind. At the moment that conceptions or disturbing emotions arise, since they debilitate myself and others, may I confront and avert them with forceful means. Just an example. All the 8 verses are wonderful during our daily life. If we take, for instance, also the jewel garland of the Bodhisattva, like the very last verse, it's also very powerful, as it says, in company of others, guard your speech. Whenever you are alone, guard your mind. Okay? And so these are words that we memorize and we learn them, and then as we are in our daily life, we repeat them in order to direct our mind. Okay? And there are many other words. If we go to the very beginning also of the text, it says, no? Put aside all doubt and hesitation and take delight in earnest practice. Actually, the word doubt and hesitation in English, in Tibetan is only one word, which is tetsum. So it would be or doubt or hesitation, basically. But I think the translator put both of them just to make it more clear, to put more emphasis. But originally there is only one word. Put aside all doubts and take delight in earnest practice. Practice with delight whatever you are doing. Put effort in whatever you are doing. So, I don't know, we can go on like the verse number 3 here. Proclaim your own failings, but do not look for faults in others. Hide any good qualities you may have while declaring others' virtue. Let go of concerns of gain and respect, and always renounce the desire for fame. With few ones remain contented, and repay any kindness you receive. Okay, we could go on reading the whole text. Every verse here is so powerful. So even from the Bodhisattva Charyavatara also, there are many very verses which are very powerful. So what we do, we train ourselves in the verses by learning them, by writing them, by memorizing them, in order that during the day, whenever we see that our mind is not going exactly in the right direction, what we do? We repeat the verses to bring our mind to the right direction. Okay? So this is why we use the words to direct the mind. Okay? So, with this, we conclude this part of the text, as it says. Again, the post-meditative state, it says, concerning the 3 objects, 3 poisons and 3 virtues, the instruction to be followed in short. Yulsum tuksum getsasum. Yulsum tuksum getsasum. Yeah, because in Tibetan, we need to remember one thing. The verses are like a not a condensation, let's say in English, they are one riassunto, a summary. They are a summary of a lot of teachings and a lot of concepts. So sometimes one verse doesn't necessarily need to be connected to the next one. They are just summary of thoughts. I was reading the day before yesterday one commentary on the 7 points mind training, which was written by Kedrup Sangye, the guru of Panchen Lobsang Chokyi Gyaltsen. And very nice, I wanted very much to get a translation of this, because what he does is he puts every verse, and in between every verse, he explains the meaning and a short meditation between every line of the text. So, and then by that we can see that one line is not necessarily connected to the other. Yeah, they are connected, but one is not the continuity of the other. So, for example, here where it says, Yulsum tuksum getsasum, full stop. There are 3 objects, Yulsum tuksum getsasum. If we make the literal translation, it just says, 3 objects, 3 poisons, 3 virtues. Yul means object. Sum means tree. Yul sum, 3 objects. Tuk is poison. Tuk sum, 3 poisons. Getsa means the root of virtue. 3 roots of virtue, 3 virtues. So, in the translation, very often we need to be careful with translation because very many translations are translations that go together with interpretation, which in one way is good, which makes the text more accessible, but there is the danger that we are reading the interpretation of the translator. Okay? So here, the word concerning doesn't appear at any moment in the text in Tibet, okay? The literal translation will be 3 objects, 3 poisons, 3 virtues. Full stop. Then it says, the after instruction in short, okay, or the instruction of the after, which for my understanding is the instruction of the post-meditative state, the instruction of the after in short, is to be mindful of the practice in general by taking these words to the heart in all activities. Also here I will recheck the translation. Is to bring mindfulness to it what? To the practice. How? In order to bring mindfulness to the practice in general, one should train with words in all activities. So we train with words by remembering the words. No? Here Trijang Rinpoche in the commentary, for example, his talk is referring to one word which I believe is from the Bodhisattva Charavatara, which says, Dala deda dikminshin dage malu terminshu, which means very short and very powerful. Dala deda dikminshin, may the negativities and their results ripen upon me. May the negativities of others ripen upon me. Dage, my virtues, malu all, terminshe, may all my virtues ripen upon them. So may their negativities ripen upon me, may my virtues ripen upon them. So this is one line that Trijang Rinpoche here is saying this, and so on. And so basically we should remember through the words to direct our mind. And by that to be vigilant, to be aware during our daily life of what we are doing and in which way. Okay. I think it's quite clear, this part, right? Okay. And one wonderful thing about these teachings is that there is no moment in which we cannot practice. Every moment we can do it. It doesn't matter if we are in a moment that we are enjoying ourselves with our friends and family, if it's a moment in which we are having a rest, if we are working, if we are sick, if we are happy, if we are sad, it doesn't matter. Actually, we can apply the practice to every moment. One of the other ways of doing also here in between meditative sessions, as we said before, it is that together with the verses, it says, whenever there is something good that I experience, may everyone enjoy what I am experiencing. Whenever there is something negative, may everyone be free from the same suffering that I am having right now. Okay? So even by this, it's also a way of practicing between sessions. Okay? Some people might say, oh, but that is so tiring. I have no rest moment. We are always practicing all the time. Yes. In the sense that to change a habit, it takes constant effort. It's not something of one moment yes, one moment no. It's a constant effort that we do. And again, if we do not feel enough effort or if we don't put energy in it, it means we simply do not understand the importance and we don't feel deeply the need and the importance to change our behavior and our paradigm. Simple as that. Okay? When we feel that, we'll put the effort to make the change. Sure, there is a moment in which we get so tired we say, I am not able anymore. We'll come after, in the other parts of the teachings, There is one part in the, in the advices by the end, the 7th point, in which says, always practice the 3 difficulties. No? The 3 difficulties are, be aware, first difficulty, to be aware of defilements as they arise. Second difficulty, to apply the antidote when the defilement arises. Third difficulty, give continuity to the second. It is very important, this process, because in the beginning we see that we are doing something not correct, but we are not able to change it. And many of us, we may become frustrated and we say, oh, but I cannot do anything. Look, I see that I am reacting in a not in a negative way and I'm being selfish, but I know that I shouldn't do like this, but still I am doing like that. Look how bad I am. Then we feel worse. No? So, instead we should remember that this is just the first step, and an important step. The first step is when we see the negative behavior, the negative defilement coming, because before that we don't see it. We just act with selfishness and we are not even aware that we are selfish. We just act with anger and we're not even aware that we are angry somehow. Okay? The first step is to be aware. We are aware, but we are not able to change anything. That's a normal process. After some time, we start to become aware and we start to be able to apply the antidote just when the defilement is arising. So we are able not to follow the anger, not to follow the desire, not to follow the fear, and so on. The third step is that to give continuity to the second, which means to give continuity to applying the antidote, because it's not easy. Okay? So that's the natural process. And within this process, there will be moments that we will follow, moments that we will not follow. We rise, we fall, we do, we don't do, but gradually we should go in this right direction. And that's why we put effort. And one day, every day, we're supposed to do a little bit better. Some days we do worse. Then another day we do a little bit better again. And like this we go every day. And every day when we sleep and we fall down, no, it is said, it's from the same place where we fall that we need to stand up. So it's where I did a mistake. Oh, look, that thing happened. It touched something like that. So I will be careful not to do that again. And then from that, the next day, we are more careful with our attitude and the situations that we live. And I like just to give another example also, is that when we start truly practicing in our daily life, there is a moment in which basically we are able to practice very well, which means we are not anymore following a selfish attitude so much. We are not, for example, we are not getting angry anymore with all the situations around us, and so on. The fact that I do not get angry with the situations around me, does that truly mean that I am without anger? No, it means that I develop a certain level of patience and acceptance and so on, and wisdom, that the situations in which I am are not awakening my anger. So how do I know if I have anger or not? I put myself into more extreme conditions and situations. Okay? There is no any hurry to go to that next level of practice, okay? Because we should only do that level of practice once the common conditions are not anymore touching any of our weakness. So that's how the path is done. Once we are in a situation and everything is fine, we don't get any more angry, we are not anymore driven by desire so much, we found the state of balance and peace. First we enjoy that moment for some time. Then after, we need to put ourselves into more extreme conditions in order to see, is there any anger hidden somewhere? Okay. Is there any how is the desire? How is the insatisfaction? We need to go through more and more extreme situations in order to find where is our shadows and to put light into them. Okay? That's why in the same teachings of Lojong it says, our enemies are our best friends. Because our enemies are the ones that put a mirror in front of our face to show to ourselves our own defilements. No? Who is showing to us our anger? Most of the times, our friends or our enemies? Sometimes also our friends, but mostly our enemies, okay? And normally when our friends shows us our anger, at that moment they are enemies, okay? So, because our categories are quite, let's say, not stable, no? We are going from one to the other. But anyhow, the point is that it is said clearly, if we are a truly Dharma practitioner, our enemies are our best friends. Because they are the ones that shows us our defilements that we want to change and eliminate. And as Papunka Rinpoche said, defilements are easily eliminated once they are manifested. Such as the poison that is in the bloodstream, that it can be eliminated when it comes out in the skin in the form of an infection. It's painful, but that's when we can take the poison out. When it's running in the bloodstream, it's much more difficult to take it away. Okay? So, similar to that, when our anger, jealousy, pride, miserliness, and so on manifest, thank you. Beautiful. Because I have the opportunity to look at it and say, now I must do something about it. I come to know myself better. Okay? It's much better to know oneself than to think that nothing is happening. If we are there in order to practice and to train ourselves to be different. If we truly want to get out of samsara, we need to see our faults. It's not enough to connect with the light, but to not having the courage to look at the darkness. We need to connect with the light. We need to get a big torch. Okay, a nice laser torch, whatever. We need to have a big torch of the wisdom and the compassion and all the qualities and our gurus and everything. But if we just keep the light in the place of the light and we never direct it where is the shadow, we will never take away our own darkness. But in order to direct the light where there is shadow, we must know where is the shadow. We must see the shadow. And very often, one of the most important parts of the practice is to see our own shadows, is to see our dark side, is to see our defilements, to recognize them deeply with humbleness. Then we can take the teachings and the blessings and the practices and all of this, and then we take and we give light to it. We take care of us. One very, very important aspect in all of this is that whenever we see our own shadows, we see our own defilements, we should not punish ourselves for it. Okay? We should not put ourselves in the attitude, look how bad I am. I am so selfish, and there we go. Look at me, I am so selfish. Yes, I must suffer because I am selfish. And then, you look, I am so greedy. I know how much greed I have. I need to punish myself for that. No. Imagine a little child, whatever age. A child come to us because the child recognizes that he has done something wrong. He or she has done something wrong, okay? So the child come to us crying, oh, I'm sorry, I did this mistake. I know I should not have done it. So beautiful. The child acknowledges and sees clear that the action that he or she did was wrong. So the child comes to us and says, sorry for what I did. What is the correct attitude that we should have towards the child? We could say, yes, you did wrong, now you should suffer, I will punish you for that. If we do that, the next time the child is not going to acknowledge his mistake, He's going to come and say, no, I did a mistake. I hide my mistake because I don't want to get a punishment. Or even worse, the child will start punishing himself alone. That's even worse sometimes. Okay. Other reaction, which is not correct, is the child come crying that he acknowledges that he did something wrong, and we go to the child and we said, oh, my dear, don't worry, everything is fine, nothing have happened, everything is beautiful. Poor child. He did such a big effort to understand that what he did was wrong, and to acknowledge it, and to say sorry, and what we say, all the effort you did is useless, Don't worry, nothing went wrong, and so on. Next time he's in front of the same situation, he will have incoherence because he knows it's wrong, but you told him it's right. There is no problem with it, and then slowly he will let himself be taken by the part of doing the way how it's not supposed to be. So I believe the correct attitude is the child come crying, recognizing he did a mistake. We should embrace the child and saying, yes, it was a mistake. How good we know it. We have this. We are so fortunate to see and to learn from experience. So what can we do in order to avoid it in the future? When we embrace the child, we give, how to say in English, reassurance. We give reassurance to the child by embracing the child and saying everything is fine. You did a mistake, you acknowledge it, and now it's okay because we are going to avoid it happening again in the future. We are all here to learn. We should do the same with ourselves. When we see our shadows, when we see our mistakes, when we see our wrongdoings, we should not punish ourselves. Because if we enter into the punishment system to ourselves, what happens is that we are going to hide from ourselves our own mistakes, and we are going to justify one after the other our own mistakes. We should not justify them by saying, oh, that thing happened, that's all okay, everybody does this, and whatever. We should just embrace ourselves and say, okay, I am ignorant, that's why I acted in this way. But now that I can see, how good that I can see, I don't want to repeat it anymore. And we embrace and we direct. That's the way. So, as we go on our daily actions, every day we get in touch with situations that are not so easy. And we end up reacting with different defilements. We should embrace ourselves and redirect ourselves to the right attitude. It's very important to have this love towards oneself. Also, what we saw yesterday on the practice of Tonglen, that we start practicing Tonglen with our own self. This is a way of embracing oneself and redirecting, which is so powerful and so important to do at the same time. So, when we do wrong things, we embrace ourselves and direct. When we get to a point that we have a certain level of stability and practice that situations do not take us anymore out of our center, then we should go to look for more extreme situations in order to be able to train in a higher level. Okay? Until one moment that we don't need anymore, because we have completed our training. So it's like, there was a meditator in India, and he stayed for more than 12 years living in a cave in Dharamsala. He was one friend of mine. And when he finished that period of meditation, he stayed for more than 12 years living in a total silence in the middle of the mountains, meditating. Then he finished his retreat, he came down, and the monastery gave him a room which was far away from all the noises. Because they said, okay, he stayed all the time in the cave, now we don't want to get him disturbed, so they gave him a room very far away. He would wake up very early. He would go to a friend's house where to do his morning meditation. And he would sit in the terrace, a small terrace, in front of the bus station of the city. Okay, the most noisy area of the whole town. So he would sit there in front of the bus station. It's so chaotic. Normally bus stations are already noisy. Indian bus stations are even more noisy. So you have all these people shouting and selling things around, and the buses, in India, all the cars behind, not all, but many of the cars, the buses, most of them, behind is written, horn, please, sound. So they, please, horn, is like, people do not drive much with their eye sense, most with their ear sense, it's like, it's more listening than seeing sometimes in India. So imagine how noisy and chaotic is a bus station there. So he would sit in front of the bus station and he would do his practice there. Because it's a higher level of training. He's able to keep concentration in silent. Now he's training himself to keep concentration in the middle of chaos. Different levels of which we need to go through. Okay? But for the moment, I think if we're able just to keep our stability in the situations where we are, it's already good enough. We don't need to go to look for extreme situations. But within the situations that we are, the difficulties of life are precious. The conflicts are precious. In the moment that we truly want to grow spiritually, in the moment we want to train ourselves into be a better person, to change our behavior. So in that context, we should look at the difficulties. When we talk about the enemies, it's not only people. People, objects, situations, and so on. The enemies are our true best friends because they show us where is our shadow. And I repeat once again, there is the danger of us following the Dharma for a long time and connecting only with the light and never opening our eyes to see our own shadows. So we direct the light towards the light and we never direct the light towards the shadow. So the shadow remains there because it's not being directed to that side. I think it's quite clear, no? So it's important for us from time to time to look upon ourselves. And we do this by the experiences we have in daily life. Whenever there is something that makes us, that we suffer through it, whenever there is a situation where we get nervous, where we get insatisfied, when we really truly suffer through that situation, it means something is being touched inside that is painful. So what is inside that is not okay? Remember, every manifestation of suffering from body and mind is just a symptom. And the symptoms are precious because they show to us that there is a sickness. And our objective is to cure the sickness, not to take care only of the symptom. So when we feel angry, when we feel jealous, when we feel sad, when there is any state of mind of suffering, it is because there is a sickness behind. This is just a symptom that is manifesting through the situation. So how good that it manifests so I can go through because I have the right medicine that is the Dharma. I can apply the medicine through my practice, through my meditation, through the blessings. I can apply the medicine. I can take care of myself. But in order to cure the sickness, I must see the disease. And who is showing to us our diseases? Our own enemies. The difficult situations and so on. So, we don't need at this moment to go to look for difficult situations, but we should just experience them in a better way. Anyhow, this is the third point of Lojong, which is transforming the adverse circumstances into the practice, into the path, okay? But it's also regarding the moment between meditative sessions. So there are many ways that we can practice between meditative sessions. And because we don't pass very long time meditating, because of the lifestyle we have and so on, it becomes even more important. Okay? If we would stay, 10 hours, 12 hours meditating a day, which is not too much, it's possible. Make 4 sessions a day during a long retreat, we can stay 10, 12 hours meditating in a day. Then, the moments between meditative sessions, they are somehow almost meditative because so many hours meditating. We're a little bit still connected to the meditation in between. Because you do 2-3 hours of meditation, then 2 hours of pause. That 2 hours, you will remain connected to the meditation. But when we do not meditate much, we meditate, let's say, 1 hour a day, half an hour a day, whatever, it becomes even more important to be aware of our behavior between the meditative sessions, to direct our mind in a gentle, nice, and joyful way. It's important to remember the nice, gentle, and joyful way. Okay? Not in a hard way. How beautiful I can direct myself. How nice it is that I can do that. Okay? And just to conclude this part, when we say that our enemies are truly our best friends, it means we do not need to fear difficult situations. What we need to fear is our own defilements, not the external difficult situations. Okay? I think it's quite clear, no? So, just to conclude with the fact that it's not only a matter of choosing the way how we want to behave now in order for next life and enlightenment and so on, even referring to this life. Let's say we have a long life. What type of old person we want to become? You know, an old person that is always there complaining about things and with bad humor? Or you want to become an old person that is satisfied and joyful and stable and nice? Because we can see this, no? Because sometimes when we see in old people, sometimes the character becomes more clear. One aspect of the character becomes more evident, no? More strong. So, I will become what I train myself to become. So also from this point, it's so important to direct ourselves, no? Then it always makes me remember the mother of a friend of ours, that now she's 99. And since quite many years, she got a problem of whatever, memory, that she is trapped in a moment of her life, and she has a temporary memory of only 15 minutes. So you go there, say hello, she's so generous and nice and gentle, and she will be so nice and polite and everything so beautiful. Then after 15 minutes, who are you? Okay, then you start again, like she likes to play cards, no? Then she's playing after 15 minutes, you hello, you like to play cards, let's play cards. Then start everything again, no? So, but the wonderful thing is that she got trapped in a wonderful moment of her life, in her memory. So every 15 minutes, she goes back to a moment of her life of joy and happiness and satisfaction. So she's always happy. All the time. Every day, every time. She's now 99, perfect health, completely happy, all the time happy and joyful. So imagine if at one point of our life, because of our old age, we get trapped at a moment of our life in memory. Let's hope it's a good moment. So we need to create more and more good moments in life in order to have more possibilities to get trapped in a good moment, no? So what I want to say is that to train ourselves between meditative sessions, it means to direct our thoughts and our actions to shape our life. And this is so important both for this life and what comes after. It's like just concluding with this equation that we did the other day. Yesterday. Rejoicing, being grateful, recognizing the kindness, being grateful brings satisfaction. Satisfaction brings happiness. Complaining, criticizing brings insatisfaction. Insatisfaction brings suffering. So it's just a matter of choosing what do we want for ourselves. So in what direction we want to train ourselves, verbally, physically, mentally. Okay? So now we stop for lunch. Jetsu lame kutse rapten chi namkar tinle chochur gepada losan tempe drume sasumgi drove munsel tatu ne gyurch Nimo dele tsendele, nime kuyan delek shing, ninsen taktu delek pe, koncho sumki jingilo, koncho sumki ngodrup tsol, koncho sumki trashisho. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness.